First contact deception. The Xenorian scout vessel Eternal Seeker drifted silently at the edge of the Sol system, its obsidian hull absorbing rather than reflecting light. Commander Vrax stood on the command deck, his crystalline exoskeleton glimmering under the amber lighting, as he studied the holographic display of the third planet. Another primitive world, he remarked, the translucent membranes of his four eyes blinking in sequence. Assessment. Lieutenant Kella tapped commands into her console. Scan complete, Commander. The species calls themselves humans. They've achieved rudimentary nuclear capability and basic orbital technology. Their most advanced vehicles still use chemical propulsion. No signs of FTL development. Population assessment. Approximately 8 billion. They've established small outposts on their moon and neighboring planet, but nothing substantial. They unified under a planetary government called the Earth Coalition just 30 years ago. Commander Vrax's mouthparts formed what passed for a smile in Xenorian physiology. Perfect. Unified primitives are so much easier to process. Mark them as Category 3 pre-FTL civilization with limited space presence. Prepare first contact protocols. Dispatching diplomatic vessel Benevolent Dawn for first contact. ETA 3 standard cycles, announced the communications officer. Maintain surveillance position, ordered Vrax. I want detailed scans of their military capabilities, resource concentrations, and power hierarchies. Standard procedure, Kella confirmed. We'll offer them protection from non-existent threats, limited technological advancement in exchange for resources, and they'll be grateful for our benevolence. The bridge crew worked efficiently, cataloging Earth for the Empire's vast hunger. None suspected they were being washed. 5 kilometers beneath the Pacific Ocean floor, Admiral Helena Chen sat motionless in the command center of subterranean base Odyssey. The massive underground facility housed Earth's true military command, hidden from orbital surveillance. On the primary display, the Xenorian vessel appeared as a glowing red dot against the black of space. They took the bait, General Marcus Okafor said, standing beside her. Every sensor reading they're getting is exactly what we want them to see. Chen nodded, her expression unchanged. 25 years of preparation for this moment. How long until their diplomatic vessel arrives? 3 days, Admiral. The surface governments are ready to play their parts. And our assets? Chen asked. Okafor brought up a different display showing green dots scattered throughout the solar system and beyond. Fleet elements are in position, hidden in gravity shadows where their sensors can't penetrate. The lunar shipyards are operating at full capacity. The Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn facilities report all systems nominal. Admiral Chen stood, straightening her uniform. Prep the surface delegation. I want our most convincing officials ready to play the role of awestruck primitives. Dr. Nakamura will lead the scientific team. She's perfected that wide-eyed innocent look. And the timeline. Let them think they're in control. We'll allow 3 weeks of diplomatic exchange, then sign their integration treaty with appropriate ceremony. Chen's eyes hardened, and then we show them humanity's real face. The Xenorian diplomatic vessel Benevolent Dawn descended through Earth's atmosphere 3 days later, its sleek purple hull gleaming in the sunlight as it approached the designated landing zone in Geneva. Inside, Ambassador Thrax adjusted his ceremonial armor and addressed his staff. Remember, these primitives have never encountered a spacefaring civilization before. They'll be awed, perhaps frightened. Project benevolence and strength in equal measure. The ship settled on the landing pad with barely a sound, its gravity dampeners compensating perfectly for Earth's pull. Outside, a delegation of Earth's finest awaited. President Area Mickey maintained a careful expression of deference. We are honored by your presence and look forward to learning from your advanced civilization. Behind her, Dr. Yumi Nakamura, Earth's leading scientist, clutched her tablet with apparent nervousness. Military officers stood at parade rest, their uniforms deliberately designed to look ceremonial rather than practical. The Empire rewards those who recognize its wisdom. Thrax declared. "We will guide your development and protect you from the many dangers that lurk between stars." President Mickey bowed again. "We request time to prepare our people for such monumental changes. This is all very overwhelming for us." "Of course," Thrax replied magnanimously. "The Empire understands the shock of first contact. You may have 3 of your weeks to prepare your population. Then we will begin the integration process." That evening, while the Zenorian delegation rested in their luxury accommodations, Dr. Nakamura entered what appeared to be a standard elevator in the Geneva complex. As the doors closed, she placed her palm on a hidden scanner. "Authorization. Nakamura Humi. Clearance Omega." The elevator descended rapidly for nearly 3 minutes before opening into a vast underground complex. She walked briskly through multiple security checkpoints until reaching a quantum-shielded conference room, where Admiral Chen and other key leaders waited. "Report, Doctor," Chen commanded. Nakamura smiled, dropping her meek demeanor completely. "They bought it entirely, Admiral. Their scans are primitive compared to what we anticipated. They're using gravitational distortion for their FTL technology. We surpassed that a decade ago." "Weapons assessment?" asked General Okafor. "Plasma-based energy weapons, standard kinetic barriers. Nothing our phase-shift cannons and quantum shields can't handle. Their ships are larger than ours, but far less efficient. They rely on brute force rather than innovation." Admiral Chen brought up a holographic display of the solar system. Throughout it, hidden in asteroid fields, beneath the surfaces of moons, and in specially designed orbital blind spots, Earth's true fleet waited. Nearly 500 vessels of various classes, all equipped with technology the Zenorians couldn't imagine. "Communications Director, what's the status of our information control?" Chen asked. A tall woman in civilian clothes answered. "All global networks are displaying only what we want the Zenorians to see. Their monitoring systems are picking up carefully curated broadcasts about our primitive space program and our awe at their technology." "Perfect." Chen turned to President Mickey. "Madam President, maintain the facade. Show appropriate reverence, but request small concessions to make our supposed capitulation seem more realistic." Mickey nodded. "Of course. I've scheduled a tour of our most advanced space facility in Kazakhstan tomorrow. Dr. Nakamura will show them our chemical rockets and outdated computers." "Good. Let them feel superior," Chen said, her eyes cold with determination. "In 3 weeks, when they believe we're submitting to their treaty, we'll show them what humanity is truly capable of." The next day, Dr. Nakamura led Ambassador Thrax and 3 Zenorian scientists through the Kazakhstan Space Center. The facility had been carefully prepared, advanced technology hidden away, replaced with deliberately outdated equipment. Engineers in jumpsuits worked on chemical rockets and primitive satellite designs. "This is our most advanced propulsion system," Nakamura explained, gesturing to a rocket engine that would have been cutting edge in the 2020s. "We can achieve Earth orbit with it, but interplanetary travel takes us months." The Zenorian scientists exchanged looks of barely concealed amusement. "Fascinating," one said condescendingly. "You use chemical combustion for space travel. How quaint." Nakamura feigned embarrassment. "We work with what we know, but we're eager to learn from the Empire." Ambassador Thrax nodded benevolently. "The Empire is generous with its knowledge to loyal worlds. With our guidance, you might develop proper space travel within a century." "A century?" Nakamura's eyes widened in manufactured awe. That would be extraordinary progress. As they continued the tour, none of the Zenorians noticed the subtle signals passing between the human workers, nor the hidden scanners analyzing every detail of the aliens' technology. Beneath their feet, 200 meters below ground, the real Kazakhstan facility hummed with activity. Engineers reverse engineering Zenorian tech from the scans, improving upon it, and transmitting the data to Earth's hidden shipyards. In orbit, the Zenorian monitoring station Vigilant Eye maintains surveillance, its crew reporting nothing unusual. They failed to detect the quantum-shielded satellites observing them in turn, or the stealth drones collecting data on their capabilities. Throughout the solar system, humanity's true power remained hidden, preparing for the moment of revelation. In darkened command centers beneath the surfaces of Earth, the Moon, Mars, and various moons of Jupiter and Saturn, military personnel monitored the countdown to what they had codenamed Operation Revelation. 3 weeks minus 21 days, until the Zenorian Empire learned that they had not found another primitive species to subjugate, but a technologically superior civilization that had been watching them for years, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal themselves from a position of overwhelming strength. The Grand Hall of Nations in Geneva had been transformed for the integration ceremony. Zenorian banners hung alongside Earth flags, a symbolic display of the new relationship. Ambassador Thrax stood on the elevated platform, resplendent in ceremonial armor that caught the light from overhead fixtures. Behind him, a holographic display showed the Zenorian fleet, 5 battle cruisers now positioned in Earth orbit as a show of protection and subtle intimidation. Below the platform, Earth's representatives sat in rows, their faces appropriately solemn. President Mickey approached the ceremonial table where the integration treaty lay, an ornate document that effectively surrendered Earth's sovereignty in exchange for technological advancement and protection. People of Earth, Thrax's voice boomed through the hall and to billions watching worldwide. Today marks your ascension from isolation into the greater galactic community. Under the Empire's guidance, your world will flourish. Sign this treaty, and the path to the stars will be open to you. President Mickey picked up the ceremonial pen, her hand steady despite the gravity of the moment. She looked up at Thrax with what appeared to be reverence. Before I sign, Ambassador, may I address my people one final time as the leader of an independent world. Thrax gestured magnanimously. Of course, President. The Empire appreciates the significance of this historic transition. Mickey turned to face the cameras. Her expression remained unchanged, but her words were not what the Zenorians expected. People of Earth, for 25 years we have prepared for this moment. The time has come. She paused, then spoke clearly. Authorization code. Prometheus rising. Confusion rippled across Thrax's features, his crystalline structure reflecting light in agitated patterns. What is the meaning of this delay, President? The treaty awaits your signature. Mickey smiled, dropping all pretense of submission. There will be no treaty, Ambassador. Earth does not require the Empire's protection or guidance. At that moment, throughout the solar system, compartment doors slid open on asteroids, lunar craters glowed with sudden energy, and ocean floors parted to reveal hidden launch bays. On every view screen in the Grand Hall, the image changed to show hundreds of sleek vessels rising from their hiding places, Earth's true fleet revealing itself all at once. Ambassador Thrax staggered backward. Impossible. Your species has no FTL capability. Actually, Dr. Nakamura said, stepping forward, we developed quantum displacement drive 15 years ago, far more efficient than your gravitational folding technology. In orbit, the 5 Zenorian battle cruisers suddenly found themselves surrounded by dozens of Earth vessels that had appeared from nowhere, having dropped their stealth fields simultaneously. Admiral Chen's face appeared on the main screen in the Grand Hall. Ambassador Thrax, this is Admiral Helena Chen of the Earth Defense Force. Your vessels are currently targeted by phase-shift weapons capable of bypassing your shields. I suggest you order your captains to stand down immediately. Thrax's expression shifted from shock to rage. This deception will not stand. The Empire will crush your world for this treachery. President Mickey remained calm. It's not treachery to protect one's sovereignty, Ambassador. The Zenorian Empire has subjugated hundreds of worlds by approaching them before they could properly defend themselves. We simply waited until we were ready. The tables turn. On the main view screen of the Geneva Grand Hall, Admiral Chen's face remained impassive as she addressed Ambassador Thrax. We've been monitoring Zenorian expansion for decades, Ambassador. Your empire has a pattern. Approach pre-FTL civilizations, offer protection and minimal technological advancement in exchange for resources and eventual servitude. Thrax's crystalline features shifted through patterns of disbelief and rage. You have no idea what you've done. The Zenorian Empire spans 300 star systems. When your fleet arrives, interrupted General Okafor, stepping forward, they will find a solar system defended by technology they cannot match. You underestimated us, Ambassador, because that's what your empire always does. You mistake technological development for intelligence. President Mickey gestured to guards who had shed their ceremonial uniforms, revealing advanced combat armor underneath. Ambassador Thrax, you and your delegation are not prisoners, but honored guests. We invite you to observe Earth's true capabilities so you can report accurately to your superiors. Thrax's inner membranes flickered, a sign of extreme agitation among Zenorians. You expect me to legitimize this deception, to be paraded as a fool? No, Mickey replied calmly. We expect you to be a diplomat. The galaxy is changing today, Ambassador. The Zenorian Empire has just discovered it's not the technological pinnacle it believed itself to be. 3 days later, Thrax stood in the observation deck of Earth's Lunar Command, watching as workers in advanced exosuits moved effortlessly around the massive shipyards hidden beneath the moon's surface. Dozens of vessels were under construction, their quantum drives and phase-shift weaponry far beyond what the Zenorian Empire had developed. Impossible, he muttered, not for the first time. We've been traversing the stars for 7 centuries. How could you develop this technology in isolation? Admiral Chen, standing beside him, answered evenly. Necessity and paranoia. Ambassador, Earth's history is filled with conflict. When we unified, we didn't suddenly trust each other. We just found better ways to keep our secrets. Our various nations developed competing space programs in hidden facilities, each pushing the others forward. She gestured toward a sleek vessel emerging from the construction bay. Our breakthrough came 23 years ago, when we detected your empire's expansion into the neighboring star system. We realized what was coming and accelerated our development. Nothing motivates human innovation like a potential threat. We are not a threat, Thrax insisted. The Empire brings order. The Empire brings subjugation, Chen countered. We've intercepted transmissions from dozens of worlds under your protection. They're resource extraction colonies, not partners. Thrax fell silent, watching the humans work with an efficiency that rivaled the most advanced Zenorian facilities. His communicator chimed, and he activated it reluctantly. Ambassador, came the voice of his second-in-command. The Imperial Response Fleet has arrived at the system's edge. High Commander Zex requests your status. Thrax glanced at Chen, who nodded permission. I am unharmed, being treated as a diplomatic guest. The humans are. He paused, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence. The humans are not what we believe them to be. Advise caution. Understood. Transmitting Imperial demands now. The observation deck's main display activated, showing an imposing Zenorian figure in ornate battle armor. High Commander Zex's crystalline exoskeleton refracted light in patterns indicating authority and aggression. This is High Commander Zex of the Imperial Fleet. I command 43 warships and demand the immediate surrender of Earth, the release of Ambassador Thrax, and the dismantling of all deceptive technology. Comply within 1 planetary rotation or face the consequences. Admiral Chen stepped forward. High Commander, this is Admiral Helena Chen of Earth Defense. Ambassador Thrax is here with me, unharmed and free to leave whenever he wishes. However, Earth will not surrender, nor will we dismantle our technology. We invite you to send a delegation to discuss a more productive relationship between our civilizations. Zex's exoskeleton flashed patterns of contempt. There is nothing to discuss. Your deception reveals your true nature. Prepare for. The transmission suddenly cut off as a side display showed the Zenorian fleet, still at the system's edge. Surrounding them were hundreds of Earth vessels that had just dropped their stealth fields, appearing as if from nowhere. "What have you done?" Thrax whispered. "We didn't just hide our technology on Earth, Ambassador," Chen replied calmly. "We have outposts throughout the galaxy. Your fleet is currently surrounded by vessels with superior firepower, shields, and maneuverability." The transmission reconnected, showing a visibly disturbed High Commander Zex. "What trickery is this?" These vessels appeared from nowhere. "Not trickery, High Commander. Technology." Chen's voice remained level. "Your ships are currently targeted by phase-shift weapons capable of bypassing your shields. We have no desire for conflict, but we will defend ourselves if necessary. Perhaps now is a good time for that diplomatic discussion." 12 hours later, in Earth's orbital diplomatic station Unity, representatives from both civilizations sat across from each other in the conference room. High Commander Zex had reluctantly agreed to negotiations, his pride wounded but his tactical assessment clear. The Xenorian fleet was outmatched. "Your terms," he demanded, the patterns on his exoskeleton displaying barely controlled fury. President Mickey, now dressed in the formal attire of Earth's true government rather than the submissive garb of earlier meetings, spoke with quiet confidence. "First, recognition of Earth and all human colonies as sovereign territory, exempt from any claims of the Xenorian Empire." Zex's inner membranes flickered. "Agreed, though the Empire will not provide protection." "We don't need your protection," General Okafor said flatly. Mickey continued. "Second, fair trade agreements between our civilizations based on mutual benefit, not exploitation. The Empire does not exploit." Thrax began, but Zex cut him off with a gesture. "Agreed. What else?" "Third, information about other civilizations under Xenorian integration. We propose a galactic council where all spacefaring species have equal representation, regardless of the size of their territory or the age of their civilization." At this, Zex's crystalline structure vibrated with indignation. "Preposterous. Many of these species are barely beyond chemical rockets. They have nothing to contribute." Dr. Nakamura, who had remained silent until now, leaned forward. "With respect, High Commander, that's precisely what you thought about us. Look how that assessment turned out." She displayed a hologram showing Earth's quantum displacement drive. "This technology alone is 3 generations beyond your current FTL systems. Imagine what other surprises these primitive species might be hiding." Zex studied the hologram, his agitation gradually replaced by a calculating stillness. "You're suggesting the Empire has been systematically underestimating potential rivals." "Allies," corrected President Mickey. "We're suggesting that a galaxy of equals, trading knowledge and resources freely, would benefit everyone, including the Xenorian Empire." After a long moment, Zex's exoskeleton shifted to a pattern that the human's translation software interpreted as reluctant consideration. "The Empress must be consulted. This represents a fundamental shift in imperial policy." "Of course," Mickey agreed. "In the meantime, we propose a non-aggression pact and the establishment of preliminary diplomatic channels." Zex nodded, the gesture adopted from human diplomats he'd observed. "Acceptable. But know this, humans, not all species in the galaxy are as accommodating as the Xenorian Empire. Some would destroy you simply for the threat you represent." Admiral Chen smiled thinly. "We're counting on you to make introductions, High Commander. After all, wouldn't you rather have us as allies against these other threats?" 6 months later, Earth's first official embassy opened on Xenoria Prime, the heart of the Empire. Ambassador Carlos Rodriguez, a veteran diplomat, presented his credentials to Empress Vex amid the crystal spires of the Imperial Palace. The ceremony was broadcast throughout Xenorian space, and more significantly, to 12 other civilizations that had recently gained their independence from integration status. In Earth orbit, the newly established Galactic Council headquarters was nearing completion, a massive space station where representatives from 17 spacefaring civilizations would soon convene for the first time. Many had been liberated from Xenorian control following Earth's revelation. Others had emerged from hiding, inspired by humanity's stand. Admiral Chen stood in her office in Lunar Command, watching the construction through the view screen. General Okafor entered, carrying reports. "The Arcturians have signed the Technology Exchange Treaty," he announced. "Their biological computing will complement our quantum systems nicely." Chen nodded. "And the Xenarians?" "Still claiming they have nothing to contribute, but our scientists have identified at least 3 areas where their primitive technology actually surpasses our own. Their gravitational manipulation techniques are particularly promising. Keep working on them. Every civilization has something valuable to offer." Chen turned from the view screen. "And our deep space monitoring." Okafor's expression grew serious. "The Drakari Empire continues its expansion on the far side of the galaxy. Their technology appears comparable to the Xenorians, though their conquest is more direct. They simply destroy civilizations that resist, rather than manipulating them into submission." "How long until they reach this sector?" "At their current rate? 5 years, perhaps 6. Chen activated a holographic display of the galaxy, highlighting the expanding territories of various civilizations and the newly formed alliance zones. "Then we have work to do, General. The Xenorians taught us the value of appearing less advanced than we are, but they also taught us the danger of arrogance and underestimation. You think this council can stand against an empire that destroys entire planets? I think 17 civilizations working together, sharing knowledge instead of hoarding it, can accomplish what none could do alone." Chen zoomed the display to show Earth's newest shipyards orbiting Jupiter. "Besides, we haven't revealed all our capabilities yet. Even the Xenorians don't know everything we've developed." Okafor raised an eyebrow. "The Omega Protocol." "Precisely. Let's hope we never need it." Chen closed the display. "But if this new Drakari threat emerges, they'll discover what the Xenorians learned the hard way. Appearances can be deceiving, especially when dealing with humans." High Commander Zex, recently promoted to Imperial Advisor on Interspecies Relations, stood beside Ambassador Rodriguez on the observation deck of the Galactic Council station. Below them, Earth gleamed like a blue jewel. "I still don't understand," Zex admitted, his crystalline structure displaying patterns of genuine curiosity. "You could have remained hidden, developed your technology in secret until you were ready to establish dominance. Instead, you revealed yourselves and immediately pushed for this Council of Equals." Rodriguez smiled. "That's not how we see strength, Commander. True power comes from cooperation, not domination. One civilization, no matter how advanced, will always have blind spots, assumptions and limitations born from a single evolutionary and cultural path." He gestured to the station around them, where representatives from across the galaxy worked together. A reptilian Saurian engineer collaborated with a gaseous nebulite physicist, their vastly different perspectives creating solutions neither would have conceived alone. "Look at what we've accomplished in 6 months," Rodriguez continued. 17 civilizations sharing knowledge freely have already developed technologies that would have taken any one of us decades to discover independently. Zex's inner membranes fluttered thoughtfully. The Empress remains skeptical, but even she cannot deny the results. "Our scientists report breakthroughs in fields we considered fully explored." "That's the human perspective that confused you from the beginning," Rodriguez explained. "You saw our chemical rockets and assumed we were primitive. You never considered we might be hiding our true capabilities. A mistake we won't make again," Zex acknowledged. "Though I suspect you're still not showing everything." Rodriguez's expression remained neutral, just as unsure the Empire maintains its own secrets. "Trust builds slowly, Commander. But it starts with the choice to cooperate rather than conquer." The station's alert system chimed softly, and both turned to see a notification on the main display. "The Drakari Empire has destroyed another system," Zex observed grimly. That's the third this cycle. Then it's fortunate we're not facing them alone, Rodriguez replied. Your knowledge of their tactics, combined with Arcturian sensor technology and Earth's propulsion systems, gives us advantages the Drakari cannot anticipate. Zex's crystalline structure shifted to a pattern indicating reluctant agreement. Perhaps your human approach has merit after all, Ambassador. The Empire spent centuries conquering worlds one by one, only to find ourselves suddenly outmatched by a civilization we dismissed as primitive. The greatest strength of humanity isn't our technology, Commander, Rodriguez said quietly. It's our adaptability. We learn, we change, we incorporate the best of what we encounter. He looked out at the Earth below, then to the stars beyond, where the newly formed alliance fleets were beginning joint exercises in preparation for the coming storm. The Drakari believe they're invincible because they've never faced united resistance. They've never encountered a force that combines the strengths of 17 different evolutionary paths. And if this alliance falls? Zex asked. Rodriguez's expression hardened slightly. Then humanity has contingencies. We always do. But I prefer the path where we stand together. As if emphasizing his point, a fleet of ships from 5 different civilizations executed a perfectly synchronized maneuver outside the station, a demonstration of the new unified command structure that would have been unimaginable months earlier. No one expected Earth to have FTL technology, Rodriguez concluded. The Zenorian Empire learned too late what happens when you underestimate humanity. Let's hope the Drakari are quicker students.